Today, I want to discuss a bit of a wild theory that I've had for a while now. What if Pulp Fiction was actually inspired by the sitcom Seinfeld? Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction's famed director, has said that the author Elmore Leonard was a great influence on how he writes his characters' dialogue. Elmore writes the dialogue for his characters in a natural and casual way, as if two friends are talking off the cuff, which is clearly reflected in Tarantino's films as well.
Pigs are filthy animals. I don't eat filthy animals.
Yeah, but bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good.
But there is another production that is well known for this style of dialogue.
See, now to me, that button is in the worst possible spot.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Pulp Fiction's dialogue might be even more of a derivative of Seinfeld's dialogue than Elmore's. The topic of conversation in Seinfeld's dialogue is often random and unrelated to the plot or story.
What do you need salsa for?
Salsa is now the #1 condiment in America.
Just like in Pulp Fiction.
And you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
But it's not only the dialogue that is similar. Seinfeld's stories revolve around its characters getting into random shenanigans, unrelated to the central theme or plot. They just get into a situation and then we watch it unfold along with the characters. A famous example of this would be the Chinese restaurant episode, where for the whole episode we just watch what the characters do while waiting for a table at the Chinese restaurant. Stories in this style have made Seinfeld well known as a show where
It's about nothing.
the Seinfeld writers have said that the show's motto was no hugging, no learning, meaning that there was to be no central message to any of the stories or a grand learning moment for any of the characters. When asked about making a film based on Elvis Presley's life, Tarantino said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he cannot make a film with an end goal in mind, such as a film about Elvis's life. But he can write about a day in Elvis's life and see how such a day would unfold organically. Much like a Seinfeld episode, the Pulp Fiction characters don't learn and don't hug. We just sort of hang out with them for a day or two and see what happens, until the film just sort of ends. A signature of Seinfeld is the way that each of the characters' stories converge and connect together.
Something about those two stories colliding that inspired me to go, oh, I like the way that happened. And then it just became like a thing that I was started to do, where I would try and get all the stories to somehow combine at the end. And it became like a signature of the show.
Felt around and pulled out the obstruction.
Pulp Fiction can be seen as having four key character stories: Vincent and Jules, Butch, Marcellus, and Honey Bunny and Pumpkin. By the end of the film, these four key stories are also intertwined and connected. And what else do all these Pulp Fiction characters have in common with each other? They aren't your typical movie heroes. They are immoral anti-heroes.
But I don't normally have the normal kind of heroes that movies have. I've always believed that I wanted to have a novelist's right to write characters that are however they are. They have to be interesting. They have to be fascinating, but you don't have to like them. Now, actually, in some of the cases, I want to make it actually hard for you to like them, but you like them anyway. And now that's on you now. And now you have.
Seinfeld's characters are also well known to be atypical sitcom characters. Unlike other sitcoms of that period, they're not ultimately moral or trying to do the right thing. They are self-centered and self-serving jerks. Likeable, but still jerks.
Well, the jerk store called. They're running out of you.
So with all this evidence, I think it's now clear that the inspiration for Pulp Fiction was the sitcom Seinfeld. But the biggest piece of evidence I have for my theory is that Jerry Seinfeld himself, under the pseudonym Alexis Arquette, was actually cast to play a minor role in Pulp Fiction.